Morning YouTube. Today is Friday morning, the 26th of May, and I'm eager to share with you what I've done so far this week up until today. I will go through as a narrative what this week's been like, and then at the end I'll give you some stats up until this point in time, and then I'll do another video summarising the whole week when I finish today. And I think what I'll also do is summarise in that second video where I get my stats from and just what I'm measuring. But for this one, I just want to focus on what I've been doing so far this week. So on Monday this week I didn't work, and so my first working day was going to be Tuesday. And I managed to secure, at the start of Tuesday, 2 good jobs for this week from a person that I get some work from. I've started to get some work from regularly, and those jobs are flexible in that I can pick them up pretty much at any time and I can drop them off at any time, and they are multiple pickups and a single drop off at a storage place in High Wycombe. And so the 2 jobs that I secured for this week involved a collection at Cockermouth, then going to Birmingham and collecting from 2 locations in Birmingham before dropping off all of those items at High Wycombe. And for that job I bid and got it for £350. And then for my second job that I got this week, it was going from Darlington to Grimsby, and there were 4 pickups between those 2 locations, and then going from Grimsby to High Wycombe to drop off again at the central location. And for that job I secured £380 for the work. So bearing in mind that they were booked in at the start of the week, and I was planning to do the Cockermouth to Birmingham to High Wycombe job on Thursday, and I was planning to do the Darlington to Grimsby to High Wycombe job Friday. So go back to Tuesday morning. I try where I can to get a job booked for the following morning, but on the Monday I didn't do that. So Tuesday morning I was up later than I should be looking for work. I started looking for work about 9 o'clock on the CX, and I wasn't that hopeful that I'd get something, but I was looking. And a job came up from not very far from me, from going from Peterborough, going up to Carlisle. And the job was for a long wheelbase van, and it was quoted as being 230 miles. And I thought, that is actually a really good job for me. So I quoted a bit less than £1 a mile. Not too cheap, so I quoted 225 for that job. And I wanted it for a specific reason. Not only did it get me started, it was due for a pickup between 11 and 12. Not only would it get me started for the week, which was a nice job to get started, but it would get me pretty close to Cockermouth. I looked on the map and Carlisle was about half an hour away from Cockermouth. So effectively what I was going to use this job for was to pay my miles to get to my first pickup location of my booked in job. So for me it was an ideal timed job. So I put the bid in and hoped I'd get it. About 10 minutes later I got a call back, and this nice chap called me and offered me the job, and I gratefully accepted it. So put the phone down, got ready, and I was about to leave about half an hour later to go to pick up the job. I got a call back, and the same guy called me back and explained to me that the job had been cancelled. So I made a decision there and then about what I would do. He asked me what my cancellation fee was, and I told him it's £25, but because I haven't left the house yet, I'm not going to charge you for this job. Now, it doesn't matter to me whether I've left the house or not. I'm entitled to have that cancellation fee. But my thinking was, if I I was to use this opportunity to reach out to him and give him a freebie, it might just put him in mind for future jobs for me. And I am trying to build up links with people. So I thought, for the cost of £25, let's just offer that, and hopefully something good will come of it. So he was pleased, and I put the phone down, and he said there's a possibility that it might come back today for delivery tomorrow morning, but it wasn't nothing was guaranteed. So that's when I put the phone down, and then I started looking on CX for further work. And I was thinking about, as I was looking for jobs, I was thinking, oh really, I want that job, that's that job. And I then took a second decision of the day, and it was a risk, and it was about not finding another job. I thought, I'm going to take a risk that this job comes back to me for delivery tomorrow morning. And I thought, I'm not going to find a job. If I get a job and it's like a short job and I miss out on this perfect job, I'm really disappointed. So I thought, let's see if I can get this back to me. So I went to bed for a bit because I was quite tired, and I thought I was going to have a very long night by the looks of it. I was going to be travelling a long way. I tried to get a bit of sleep, but didn't really sleep very much. I slept it on and off for a bit. And then I got a call back at 2 o'clock. And lo and behold, it was the same guy offering me the job, which I gratefully accepted. So he offered it for me for the same price, £225, pick up between 4 and 5 that day for delivery the following morning, so on the Wednesday morning, and by 9 o'clock. So in this particular occasion, my gamble worked, it paid off. And I want to use this opportunity to share with you something I've learned about this job. There are often occasions where I'm trying to find a job to get me to the start of my paid work that I've got, because I do quite a lot of tramping around. I'm often around the country, and I often want to find a job that's going from A to B that pays me money, so that I get to B to do the job from B to C, say. And many times I don't get that perfect job that fits in at the right time, going in the right direction. And I was thinking to myself one of these times, oh, but I wish I'd be really lucky if I got one of these jobs. And then I thought to myself, no, it's not luck. It's because you keep looking. It's the work you put in. If you keep looking, one day you'll get that job. It's not about luck, it's about perseverance and just putting in the hours and the effort. And 9 times out of 10, I don't get that job. I have to do the dead miles. And when I get the lucky, in inverted commas, lucky job, it's not lucky, it's part of doing the job and doing it, putting the effort in. So that's how I see this. You make your own luck by putting in the effort. So because I took the risk yesterday and I happened to win on that occasion, that's just because I made a decision and it worked out that time. Other times I make a decision and it won't work out. So anyway, so I picked up the job about 4 o'clock. I'd finished loading by 4:15, and although it was on the CX as a large wheel-based job, it was only 17 cardboard boxes, and I sat them in a couple of rows in my van, and I had about 4/5 of my volume still available. What it was a load of cardboard boxes with printed T-shirts or printed replica shirts for Carlisle United Football Club. They have got into the playoff final at Wembley on Sunday. Then they're playing Stockport, and so there's these shirts to take up for them for their fans. So when I loaded, I spoke to the shipper. I said, I've loaded now, and I said, how do you feel about me getting a co-load on the way up to Carlisle. And his response was, as long as you get our load delivered on time tomorrow morning, then that was fine by him. So I put the phone down and I started looking for potential co-loads from Peterborough going northwards. I gave it half an hour, nothing came up, so I thought I've given it a go, that's fine, I feel I've done the best I can, and then I started to make my way up towards Carlisle. Because I knew I was tramping out that night, I wanted to get as close to the drop-off point as I could that evening, but I wasn't quite sure what it would be like around the football stadium in Carlisle, whether it would be a busy place. So I chose to find somewhere just before Carlisle, a bit quieter. So I ended up at a town called Penrith, about half an hour south of Carlisle, just down the M6. And so I found a car park that was free to park in after 6 o'clock. It was quite quiet, I was quite warm that night, had a reasonable night's sleep, and I set my alarm for 7:30 in the morning. It got set off at 25 past 8. The journey was about 25 minutes by Google Maps, so I'd give myself a 10-minute window to get there before 9 o'clock. This brings me to my second lesson that I want to share with you. What I've learned doing this job is that it's always much better to aim to be a bit early than to aim to be on time. So I always try to get to my pickup place about 1:45 or 10 to the time I've got to be there. And often that you can still load straight away and you're off a bit earlier than you would otherwise be. But what happened today was I got stuck in some traffic, and I ended up getting to my drop-off place at 5 past 9, which is technically 5 minutes late. I was thinking about whether I should ring the shipper as I was stuck in the traffic, but because I could see I was going to get there at 5 past 9, and I thought I'm close enough to being on time that it's okay, and if they're worried they'll ring me and I can explain where I am, and I'm only going to be 5 minutes beyond the time they expect me to be there. And as it was, I could see the reason for the problem. It was some road works on the road just outside the football stadium. So I could see by the time I got to that point, I wasn't going to be that much longer. So I got to the drop-off place, unloaded very quickly, and then this brings me to the next thing about my job that I really like. I mentioned it in a previous video. I felt that morning that I'd been part of helping Carlisle's success, being part of their success. The club shop are really pleased to get all the stuff in time that they've got pre-orders for. I felt that because I did my job properly, I've enabled lots of supporters of Carlisle United to get something they really want in time for their big match. So I felt part of their big weekend. A small part, but it made me satisfied. So I like that aspect of this job. And I'm sure the people of Stockport are equally excited. I just didn't get to deliver to them on this occasion. Okay, so I dropped off there and I made my way towards Cockermouth to pick up my first pickup of my planned route that I'd already booked in for this week. And obviously I changed my day from, I planned to do it on Thursday, I'm now doing it a day before on Wednesday. I let the shipper know that I was doing that. So I arrived a bit later than I thought it was going to be. It's about 45 minutes journey from Carlisle to Cockermouth because of the traffic. I got to my first pickup, picked up, and then moved on down the M6 towards Birmingham for my second pickup. Along the way, I was looking again for potential co-loads, and I put some bids on the CX system. And when I put the bids on, I put a note in the system saying that although I had some items on board, the bid I was putting in place was to do a direct A to B delivery for that company, and and so they knew I was co-loading, and that was the option that they could either accept or not accept. I didn't get any of those bids accepted, which is fine. I wasn't necessarily expecting to get anything. I know that a lot of companies don't like use co-load. I'm happy for them to not go for that, as long as we all know where we stand. The person I'm doing the pickups for, he allows me to co-load for his work on these particular things. So not only is the work flexible in terms of when I can pick up and drop off, I can co-load if I can find something. The other thing about the co-loading is I was only looking for co-loads between where I was, Cockermouth, and Birmingham. There was a couple of co-loads between Manchester and London, which I was going to London that day. I could have picked up as a co-load, but I would have had to have stopped in the middle of that journey to pick up my stuff in Birmingham, which in my mind makes it no longer a direct A to B delivery for that particular shipper. So what I'm offering in terms of this co-load is I'll deliver the second shipper's delivery direct. All I'm doing is I'm doing it alongside another load I've got on board. And as I said, some people are fine with that, some are not, and it's up to... I put all the facts down on my CX, and if they don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine by me. So as it was, I didn't find a co-load, but at least I felt that I'd try my best to maximise my return from today, from that day, sorry. So I got to Birmingham, picked up my second pickup, and then went to my last pickup in the centre of Birmingham. And it all went okay. Bit of handballing of stuff on to the van, a bit of traffic in Birmingham, but by the time I'd finished all my pickups, it was 5 to 6, and then I've got just a journey from Birmingham down to High Wycombe, and I realised when I was doing this, it's just the M40 basically. Just go down the M40, it's almost a direct route, so it's a really nice run down. I did that in about an hour and 3/4, and so I ended up being at the depot for the drop-off at 5 to 8, just before they closed. So I got myself unloaded, and I was out and finished on the CX by 8:15. I then started to make my way back home. These would have been dead miles. It was obviously quite late in the evening. I was looking on the CX for work, but I didn't expect to get anything, and there wasn't anything that came up. But that was fine. I made my money for the day, and I was happy just to get home. One of the things I was really pleased about was I managed to get unloaded before the depot closed, so I didn't have to tramp out for a second night. I could go straight home. It was a long day, but I got home at the end of the day. So that was the story of my days on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I want to at this point give you the figures for those days, and then I'll bring this video to a close for today. So on the first day, this was the Tuesday, my earnings for that day was 0. And the reason for that is that I only include my earnings on the day I finish a job. So I didn't finish the job to Carlisle until Wednesday morning. So on Tuesday, although I did start the job, I didn't have any earnings for that day. What I did do is use up some fuel, and I work out my fuel based on each week what is the pence per mile that I spend on fuel based on my fuel card and my usage. And so this week my figure is 12.72 pence per mile. That's what every mile costs me in terms of fuel. And so my number of miles that I did on Tuesday was 230, exactly the amount that the CX job said it would be from Peterborough to Carlisle. And so my cost of fuel for that day was £29.42. Therefore my net earnings after fuel on Tuesday was minus £29.42. On Wednesday my earnings were £225 from the Carlisle job, and the £350 from my pickups, 3 pickups and drop off in High Wycombe. So it's a total earnings on Wednesday of 575. The number of miles I did that day was 466, and so I spent just shy of £60 on fuel. Therefore, on Wednesday, my net income after I paid for my fuel was £515. So over the course of both Tuesday and Wednesday, if I take into account what I earned for both days after fuel, my net earnings was around about £485 for 2 days' work. And I'm really pleased with that. In a previous video, I've said that my daily target is £250 after fuel. So if I had achieved that target, I would have earned £500 over those 2 days after fuel. So I was only £15 off achieving my target. So really pleased with how those 2 days went. So thank you very much for listening to my video. What have you learnt today?